Alright, in this video we're taking a look at the EMAX Easy Pilot. It's this little ready-to-fly quadcopter, tiny whip type of drone. It'll get you started in FPV, but this is like sort of step 2. If you want to get started in FPV, I'd recommend seeing the first video on the RC car, the Interceptor. I'll put a card here in the corner. You guys can check out that video. If you really want to take baby steps in FPV, start off with that one. That'll get you started, and then move up to this sort of step 2. This is also a ready to fly kit, so it comes with everything that you need to fly. You got the drone, you got your video goggles, so you can see the video feed from the camera that's on this drone. It's a small little camera there, and then you got your RC controller. And they've simplified this compared to the original Tiny Hawk Ready to Fly kit. Some people had some issues with keeping this in the air, so it wouldn't crash it. And they've added altitude hold to this, so that it will basically stay level without you having to manage the throttle. So it does seem like a pretty minor difference, but that actually makes a pretty big difference, especially if you're new to FPV and maybe new to flying. So let me just show you everything. So you got the drone here, you got your controller, you got your goggles. The goggles also come with a battery, and then you just plug this into the goggles, and the plug for the goggles is right there. That'll power the goggles. You have to put the antenna on. It does come with one antenna, and it goes right here like that. And then the battery charges via micro USB. Micro USB cable is included. The controller also charges via micro USB, has an internal battery here, and just charges on this port right here. The battery on the drone is right here. You pull that off, and they include this small USB charger. You plug this into a USB power brick, something like that, and then you plug the battery into this little plug right here, and then that will charge the battery that's on the drone. And as you can see, it's pretty plain looking, just white, but they also include a set of stickers if you want to personalize, customize your drone. Now, to actually operate the drone, it's pretty straightforward. There are instructions, of course, included, but let me just go over these really briefly. On the top, I guess, if you're looking at the controller, if you're facing it, this would be the left side here. There's a 2-position switch here, and I believe when you push it away from you, that will arm it, and pull it towards you, this arms it. So basically, when it's disarmed, you can't do anything. The controls don't do anything. It is just basically inactive. And then there's a 3-position switch here on the right-hand side. When you're looking at it, it's on the right-hand side. And I believe it's when it's closest to you, it's beginner mode, and further away, it's more advanced. So we'll just go through each one of them. I'll show this flying on line of sight first, and then I'll show you what it looks like FPV. Controlling the drone is pretty easy. Once you arm it, you're going to lift the throttle up, and it'll take off, and it'll level off at a certain height. And then you want to be in sort of the middle position. If you increase it past the middle position, it will raise the altitude. If you lower it, then it'll lower the altitude. If you eventually to the point where it'll just keep on going down, it'll hit the ground, or if you keep it above mid throttle, it'll keep going up. So just be aware of that. You do have to manage a little bit of throttle, but once you sort of put it in the middle, if you leave it in the middle, it'll stay at whatever altitude it's currently at. Well, at least it should stay there. We'll find out. And of course, you still have your yaw control for rotating the drone on the yaw axis, and then you have your basically your roll axis and your pitch axis here on the right stick. Okay, so I just want to go over the controls once again before I go and fly this. I did have this reversed before on the mode switch, so the easy mode is actually away from you, so it's going to look like this, where the switch is away from you, and the advanced mode is going to be, the switch is going to be all the way towards you like that. So we're going to start off in beginner mode, and then in beginner mode, there is, the yawing, which is normally going to be on the left stick, is actually now on the right stick here. So when you move the right stick to the right like this, it will yaw clockwise. And if you move the right stick to the left like this, it will yaw counterclockwise. And then pitch works the same way. So pitch forward, it'll move forward. If you pitch back, it'll move backwards. In beginner mode, the left stick yawing doesn't do anything. And then intermediate and advanced modes, everything is normal, like as I explained earlier. The yawing is going to be on the left stick, and then your roll is going to be on the right stick. So I'm going to just fly it in beginner mode and see how it flies, and show you a little bit of FPV. Turn on the controller, plug in the battery. There we go. Okay, so we're going to arm it, and then the green light should flash quickly, and throttle up. Alright, so I'm going to arm it, and then we're going to throttle all the way up. So it has this tendency to want to kind of go backwards, it seems like. No, actually it's no. You want to keep moving it forwards and then turning with the right stick. It's a little bit, for an experienced pilot, it's a little bit unintuitive. But you can pretty much just fly it with just a controller like this, as you can see. Just making turns. It'll move it a little bit forward. So once you've set the altitude, it'll just kind of it'll just kind of stay in. So it'll drift around a little bit. But you can see I'm not doing anything with my left hand at all. Let me bring it down a little bit. It's kind of drifting up. So there you go. So I got it down a little bit. And you just fly it with the right stick only. That should be pretty easy for a first timer, I think. Of course, I'm not a first timer anymore, so. Alright, let's go ahead and land it. So to land it, find it, let's put it on the floor here, and I'll just bring the throttle all the way down. And just bring the throttle all the way down, and then it will land and turn the props off. And then to disarm, you just push the left switch away from you. The green flashing light will be slow. That's disarmed. Let's put it into the intermediate mode, so the right switch in the middle, and we'll arm it and take off. So I'm now flying with the left stick. I'm turning with the left stick here. That's to do the yaw. This is what I'm more used to. And then you can turn, you can rotate, or you can roll it right and left with the right stick. It's very docile in the intermediate mode. Let's turn it to expert mode. Okay, so in expert mode, it looks like the altitude hold might be off. I don't remember reading that, but yeah, that seems like you have more. Yeah, you have control of the altitude in expert mode. So it looks like the altitude hold is turned off. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. It looks like it's very flyable. I'm gonna go ahead and fly at FPV now. So I'm going to go ahead and fly at FPV in expert mode. And it's pretty easy to fly, even in expert mode. But I am an experienced pilot, so quite docile. Oh, looks like the battery's dead. Okay, so yeah, this is a pretty good kit. I think it starts off in the beginner mode. It's very simple, very docile, pretty easy to control. Should be a good starting point, and then you can progress up to intermediate mode. It still gives you altitude hold, and so the next step. And then the advanced mode, of course, is all the way where you want it to be. And if you can fly in advanced mode, then at that point you can go to the Tiny Hawk, which is going to be brushless motors instead of brushed motors and be more powerful. So that's kind of where they're taking you. They're kind of starting off very simple, very easy, and then progressing you up to the point where you can basically move up to a more traditional type of quad setup. So definitely recommend this one for a first timer. This is a really good first step. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.